Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto had eternal Mangekyou Sharingan? Part 1. Subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Let's start the story. In a destroyed village, surrounded by fires, mountains of destroyed earth, 4 figures stood. 3 versus 1. The one facing the 3. Naruto Namikaze is standing in a black armored epic 9-tailed fox over 328 feet high. On the opposite side of the field 2 other tailed beasts. The 4-tailed monkey and the 5-tailed dolphin horse. Standing in a lava golem was Kurotsuchi, granddaughter of the 3rd Tsuchikage, and lined up for 4th Tsuchikage, standing facing the man that was once her best friend, lover, enemy, and father to her child. To her side the Jinchuriki of Iwagakure Han and Rashi transformed into their tailed beast. The third ninja war raged for 24 years. War of attrition. Sarutobi once joked it was like being back in the warring clans period. Konoha continually pushed back. Went a bridge just to take a blow when the Kyuubi attacked. Few made it past the age of 17. Rare those who made it to the 21st. But fear those who live past 25. Those with potential taken from a young age to fuel the war effort from the territories that the specific nation you came from. Naruto Namikaze, first son of Minato Namikaze, born into war from the Jonin's first wife Mikoto Uchiha. Lost his mother at an early age when she gave birth to his baby brother Itachi, and lost his father and beloved stepmother. 5 years later, lost both his brothers to the war. Meeting a pretty girl in the capital of Grass Country during his downtime on a mission. The two continued to meet, for years to come. And then the third great ninja war came to an end when the 5th Hokage, Jiraiya of the Sand and his godfather, settled an armistice with the 3rd Tsuchikage. The two lovers hated the war, and celebrated the end. But it was too late for Naruto, for he had fallen to the curse of the Uchiha. The eyes of his beloved brother powering his left eye eternal Mangekyou Sharingan. The blood of the Senju. His father's blood powering his Tomo Rinnegan on the right. Hatred built up, until he snapped. Konoha was humiliated from the demands of the Tsuchikage. He left the village. After meeting one last time with his longtime lover he left her, didn't even stick around long enough to find out she was pregnant with his child. He mastered the gift left by his parents' sacrifice. 6 months into his defection the mixed blood manifested, granting him the legendary Dijutsu, Rinnegan. 1 year, and 6 months later he was ready. Appearing in the middle of the hidden rock. Destroying the tower of the Tsuchikage. When his ex-lover gave chase. He took her to the village that started it all. Unleashing the Kyuubi from within. It didn't take long for the other two to show up. After all, the malevolent chakra of the most powerful tailed beast could be felt all over the world. History repeating itself, as the descendant of Madara Uchiha threatened to destroy. But like his ancestor he too would fail. Do not falter now Naruto. Only true peace can be achieved when they are being controlled. Naruto thought to himself. Unseen to anyone else in the battlefield. He allowed himself a fraction of a moment of weakness. A single tear slipped from his left eye. His mother's death in childbirth gave him his Sharingan. His father and stepmother gave their lives sealing the Kyuubi into him. He saved his youngest brother from a bad fate. 9-year-old Jonin saw him awaken the Mangekyou Sharingan when his parents stopped the Kyuubi's claws with their body. 10 years old meeting his would-be girlfriend. 12 years old when he received the news that his youngest brother, Hideyoshi, had been assassinated. 16 years old when Itachi's sacrifice had gifted him his eternal Mangekyou, taking his brother's pain as his own. It all came to heal for this moment. If he succeeded now, then the peace that his family had died for would become a reality. He looked at his ex Kurotsuchi. He looked at the two Jinchuriki ready for battle. Naruto stops this madness. Stop, why are you doing this? His beloved Kuro-chan pleaded. And he steeled his resolve. My people are in fear, while your dear grandpa makes demands. This isn't the peace my family fought and bled for. That force of a treaty is a failed experiment. He replied, putting his toughest act. He would bring peace to the world. And killing the person he loved the most would be the first step. Capturing the tailed beast would be the second. And if he failed, then God has mercy on his soul. I do not care if you were my lover Kamizuru. I will kill you. He gathered his hatred. His Tomo Rinnegan flared to life, the fight began. 3 days of fighting landscape changed, and terraforming the land around them. He had taken out the 4 tails. With only hand at her side, Kurotsuchi signals for the man to tank the 9 tails. Long since had the Susanoo fallen of the Kyuubi. The man known as the god of shinobi too runs low on chakra. Only his relationship to the beast keeps them fighting together. What no one knew was the conversation going on in a different plane. Scene change. In a plain white room. The 9-tailed beasts manifested themselves. Son Goku and Kakuya were immediately hostile to Kurama. Why call us here? The monkey snarled. The 9-tailed fox held his paw-piece son. I'm sorry for the destruction my container is causing. But I knew that even with my strength he would fail. I gathered us here because of my Jinchuriki. Has chosen to set out on this path. He explained. That did not placate his sibling. That girl suffered when he turned up just to break up with her. She was pregnant with his kid. And now he destroys part of her home, and now is fighting her in a deathmatch. What possibly good reason could your container have to explain his actions? Snarled. The other tailed beast looked at Kurama expectantly. The fox knew he had been put on the spot, but he had to make the case, or else generations to come would too fall prey to the curse. During Itachi's last moments he made my container aware of a stone tablet written by father. When we visited said stone, at the time I was confused, because it spoke about returning the calamity and casting that technique. He became obsessed with finding peace, and that monstrosity was his answer. When I realized the stone had been tampered with, it was too late. He had fallen into the same cycle his putrid ancestors did, he explained. Jayuki looked at his oldest brother. As the second-born he understood the importance of their creator's work, and he had witnessed what was left of the calamity. He shuddered just thinking about it. But even then he wasn't about to let his brother off the hook. Even still, why are you aiding him? It's not like you're under the effects of his eyes. The Nine Tails questioned. Kurama looked at his siblings. Naruto Namikaze had some toxins that even I couldn't cure. He has been fighting it for years. He knows his time is limited, even though what he is doing will not bring true peace. I'm not gonna toss him aside simply because he was wrong. He showed me the kindness that only father showed us. Even though I skewered his parents, through me he got those cursed eyes. But he never turned them on me. He forgave me. I'll at least give him this last battle. If he wins he would set the stage for peace. If he lost, he would leave his legacy behind, he stated proudly. He turned back to his brother. I know she had his kids. I smelled it that day. He knows. His hatred is strong. Strong enough to allow him to turn his back on everything he loves to this day still. But he is still struggling. His Uchiha blood makes his ability to hate and love greater than normal people. He still struggles. But it is his only means to find peace. A sacrifice so this world may survive. Kurama took a calming breath. I'm here in the hopes that when he falls, you son and Koku protect his kid. And for the rest of you, a warning that someone else has been pulling the strings. He is not the only one who is aware of the infinite Tsukiyomi. Scene break. Naruto couldn't continue to fight, he was at an end. His chakra was low. His partner was low on chakra, the poison that had plagued him had caught up with him. He kneeled in one leg coughing up blood. Pan saw the opportunity and restrained Kyuubi. Kurotsuchi's message had been received and her summons returned to her. With a baby at hand barely a year old, she knew what she had to do and began to run through hand seals summoning an altar. Naruto saw from his position atop Kyuubi's head, popping his last soldier pill into his mouth. He saw his daughter. The proof he had indeed loved his lover, even if they stood opposing side of the war. His EMS flared to life. Protect my daughter Kurama, he said. Both Kurama and Han heard him. Koku looked in alarm as Naruto swirled out of existence. Moments later he reappeared in front of the mother of his child. But before she could completely even set her daughter on the altar she felt Naruto appear. Placing down, Kurotsuchi took up a kunai prepared to defend her precious little girl. Inside she prayed to whatever deity existed that the man-turned monster in front of her held some shred of her husband's humanity, and that he would at least spare a child. She held onto that hope as she saw the tears form and fall from his face. For the first time since she married Naruto, she felt a shift in his chakra. Gone was the cold and foul feel. Even the darkness was more comforting. Then she heard him say, I can't believe I won't live long enough to see her grow up. Kurotsuchi's hope bloomed a bit more. Naruto just surrendered. I'm sure we could show you some leniency. Naruto shook his head. Kurotsuchi. During the attack on Kumo I was hit by an unknown poison. No doctor left alive could cure it. I could only buy time. Kurotsuchi felt her hopes go up in smoke once more. She looked at Naruto. Kurohime. I'm dying. And when I did I wanted to ensure that our family was interrupted by a coughing fit. She looked as more and more blood fell from his mouth. She yelled at him, why did you leave? We could have been a family. Naruto looked at the baby who had woken up crying at the sound of her mother's scream. I never wanted any children. I would have fathered with you to be born into a broken world. I failed at that. I failed at protecting my brothers. I broke the promise I made to my mother. I failed you. I'm a failure that failed everyone. Care for her, Kurotsuchi. Because the curse of hatred will come around full circle. War will start again. He weaved hand seals, and using his connection to the Kyuubi, sealed the beast up into the 1-year-old, using the 7 tetragram seal. Naruto took his last remaining kunai. It was a special kind his father used, and handed it to Kurotsuchi. If you still love me, and my suffering. She took his kunai trembling, and stabbed his heart, sobbing into his armored chest. Naruto hugged her one last time, and uttered his last words to her, I love you Kurotsuchi. Always, in this life and the next. And so Naruto Namikaze passed. But before Kurotsuchi could do anything to the body, it disappeared in a puff of smoke, leaving her very confused. Very confused, unaware that some life still remained on the man that once was the love of her life. Naruto found himself in a forest remarkably similar to that of his birthplace. He walked around for a bit, until he came upon a familiar figure. "Welcome Naruto Namikaze," stated the figure. Before Naruto stood the first Hokage. "Hashirama Senju. Hashirama-sama." He greeted the before him, and waved for him to follow, as he led towards a bench. "To think that a descendant of my clan, and the blood of Madara would one day come to be. I am happy to meet you," the former Hokage stated. Naruto responded in kind. "I am glad to meet you Hokage-sama." Hashirama smiled a bit. "You can just call me, you know. You've more than earned it." Naruto shook his head in disagreement. "I don't, sir. I betrayed my back on everything. My village, my family, and my friends. I killed many. I don't see how I could have possibly earned it," he said, hating himself. He allowed hatred to cloud his judgment. He didn't listen to Kurama about the tampering of the stone tablet. He went on to betray his village, killing all those sent to stop him. He regretted leaving him. Damn, he regretted a lot of things. Hashirama nodded. "We all do things we all regret. I regret not seeing my best friend descend into the darkness sooner. I regret not being good enough to protect my younger brothers. I have a lot of regrets about Naruto. We all do. What matters is the choices we make afterwards that count. Your choice to protect your daughter. Your choice to put your father's happiness over your own. Your choice to make yourself up, instead of letting your youngest brother carry the burden. Your choice to continue to love the Iwa Kunoichi, even though she was an enemy of a nation that threatened your own. Your choice to confront her. Did you know that it could lead her to releasing Konoha of the reparations demand that her grandfather imposed? Or that she too will choose to have your daughter raised in Konoha under Jiraiya's eye, restoring the balance that they provide. Or again, maybe not. But it is the choices we make that shape ourselves and the world around us. But still, there's one more choice, however, that you must make." The first told the man in front of him. Naruto asked, "What choice?" "You are still needed somewhere. I don't know where. But if you succeed there, you can move on to the afterlife with your family." Naruto looked at him with an odd eyebrow. "What's my other choice?" Hell, the first Hokage deadpanned. Naruto's eyebrow twitched. "Deadman blackmail. I'll do it." The first Hokage smiled and clapped great. Then the world around him went black. In another dimension, Konoha, the nine-tailed Jinchuriki Hitomi Uzumaki, stood in front of the third Hokage. Earlier today, Academy teacher Chunin Mizuki had attempted to trick the girl into stealing the forbidden scroll of seals. Iruka, another academy, had put a stop to it, not without injury. Now the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, was getting a recount of the events. Not that he needed it, he had been watching the girl and the events from his crystal eye. But standard procedure, and all. Besides, he wanted to talk to the girl. Make sure that she was alright after the revelation. After all, she was his responsibility. "Is that Al Hitomi-chan?" he asked her. For a moment she looked contemplative before getting on her hyperactive hype. "Oh yeah, Gigi, I learned another that I wanted to show you, but I haven't tried it yet. Can I? She asked, yelled excitedly. On the outside, the Hokage kept his lighter aura around him on the inside. However, what would she take, he thought to himself, worried hopefully. Nothing too dangerous or that could affect the seal. He nodded. The excited girl bit her thumb, and ran through the hand seals that the Hokage recognized. "I have to stop her. There's no telling what could happen," but before he could act, she finished. It was only 5 hand seals really. She slammed her hands on the floor, and shouted, "Summoning Jutsu." A seal summoning matrix appeared for a second, and a cloud of smoke appeared. And when it dispersed, a teenager looking between the ages of 17 and 18 wearing heavy armor, reminded the Hokage of the Senju style of armor during the clan wars. The main difference was it covered more of the teen's body, including armored boots. Most shinobi even back then only protected their chest, shoulders, and neck, upper arms, and thighs if they were really picky. But the person that lay in front of him was wearing a full set of armor slightly reminiscent of the samurai. They noticed, however, the kunai sticking into the armor surrounded by bits of blood. The teen himself had spiky long black hair. He was startled out of his thoughts by Hitomi, who had screamed in fear. Hitomi-chan burst out in laughter. "Well, Hitomi-chan, you summoned yourself, as an injured shinobi. Who knows, you might have saved his life," he told her before calling in a team of medics. 2 hours later, the medic nin had informed him the wound had been taken care of, and the patient had stabilized. So he made his way towards the Anbu building. "Inoichi," he called out to the head of T. The blonde-haired man startled, and bowed to the Hokage in a respectful greeting. "No need for formalities. I need you to do a mind dive," he started seriously. Inoichi looked at him. "Hokage-sama, I know that Mizuki is tough, but do we really need to go that far?" The Hokage shook his head. "Not Mizuki, Inoichi. Today, while recounting the incident, Hitomi-chan attempted a summoning technique. It mostly failed. But she did succeed in summoning a body. I still sense the chakra pulse, however I want to know who the shinobi is," he stated. Inoichi understood. Better safe than sorry. Next day, the Hokage sat in his office when Inoichi came in to report the findings. "Hokage-sama, during my initial mind dive, I discovered that the subject had a mind shield similar to that of high-ranking Konoha shinobi. I spent approximately 3 hours navigating the shields. The physiology of the subject is what piqued my interest. It seems that the patient is an Uchiha or has Uchiha descent. Inoichi reported. He took a puff of smoke from his pipe. An Uchiha alive, that was at risk. The only surviving Uchiha of the massacre were Makoto Uchiha, her son Sasuke, and of course the one who destroyed the Uchiha clan Itachi Uchiha. This could either be a gift or curse. He flared his chakra, and a couple of minutes later his own physician Yakushi Hashi appeared in his office. "You called Hokage-sama," greeted the medical ninja. Sarutobi looked at him before giving him a set of orders. "Hashi, I want you to run a full blood scan of an interesting patient we came across. We suspect he is an Uchiha, but match him to every person that has lived in this village that has a medical record." Hashi looked at the Hokage with surprise. "Everyone Hokage-sama?" the medic asked. "Yes. Everyone, even the Hokage if you have to." The medic nodded permission to run a full medical scan then. The medic in half-assed half stated. The Hokage replied. The medic then left the office to carry out his orders. The Hokage turned back to Inoichi. "I want you to at the very least come up with an identity. I don't want to have any surprises." Dismissed. Inoichi flickered out of the office. Moments later Hitomi burst into the office. "Gigi, I got my picture taken," she said, handing him the ninja license to him. It was a good picture. He half expected her to put on silly makeup on and make some weird pose, but she had apparently curbed the prankster in her for this document. The Hokage stamped her license. "Good luck," he told her. Hitomi looked uncomfortable. "Nejiji, what happened to that guy I summoned?" she asked. Sarutobi rubbed his forehead. "He will be back on his feet soon, Hitomi-chan." "But why the interest? Who is Hitomi developing a crush on our mysterious armored man?" He teased her a bit. The blonde girl cried in horror. "No. I mean Gigi, he was hurt." Outside the door an assailant spied on the two. He took his shuriken and prepared. Inside the room the Hokage noticed the person, and exhaling a little smoke from his pipe he thought to himself, "My grandson. Another headache." The kid threw open the door and ran inside yelling, "Prepare yourself, old man, I will defeat you and become the 5th Hokage." Hitomi was confused and let out an "ee." The kid suddenly face planted, losing grasp of his paper shuriken. When he got up he pointed at Hitomi and exclaimed, "Hey, you tripped me." Hitomi took offense and grabbed the kid by the collar of his shirt. "You tripped over your own 2 feet, idiot." Another man burst through the door. Once he saw Hitomi he exclaimed, "Unhand the honorable grandson right now. That's the grandson of the 3rd Hokage." The kid got a cocky smirk on his face. "I bet you won't do anything to me now. You hit me," in front of Hitomi and got a tick mark on her forehead. "I don't care if he's your grandma," and socked the kid on the back of the head. She waved goodbye and left. Sarutobi's sweat dropped just like Kushina, I swear. Konoha Ninja Hospital. Restricted section. Room 3. With Hashi done taking all the blood sample, Inoichi got to do what he does best. Channeling chakra through 12 hand seals. He touched the patient's head and started. It was a mind designed to allow him to view memories without disarming or alerting mind defenses. After a while of searching, he stumbled upon a memory. Memory starts. In a dimly lit room Jonin stood around the Hokage. The Hokage himself with his trademark pipe around his mouth. Approximately 4 days ago, Cloud Shinobi successfully infiltrated our village. He proceeded with a series of assassinations. The Uchiha, Nara, and Inuzuka clans were hit, alongside the youngest son of our own 4th Hokage Hideyoshi Namikaze. In total 13 people were killed. We suspect they were more seeing, as the clans were so spread out in the village. We also suspect they also targeted the family of our late 4th. Thankfully both young Itachi and Naruto were out in the front against Iwa. Everyone in the room was somber. Kakashi Haddock, someone Naruto considered a brother, cried out, "What are we gonna do, Hokage-sama? They have to pay." The Hokage sighed. "I will personally, alongside Danzo, take charge of the front in Iwa. The treaty with Suna ensures we won't have to worry about the western border for a while, allowing us to relocate some of our troops." Darius stepped out of the shadows. "I will personally lead the assault on Lightning Country. Naruto Namikaze, Fugaku Uchiha, and Kakashi Haddock will be my sub-commanders. Be ready to deploy in 2 hours. Time is victory." The scene changed. This time they were in a semi-mountainous region. Rain was falling all around Naruto as he stepped up to the command tent. Jonin Namikaze reporting for duty. He reported in. Jiraiya is standing in front of a desk looking at a map of Naruto. "Most of our left flank has collapsed. If this assault is to succeed, take care of the problem," Jiraiya ordered. "Hi," acknowledged Naruto. As he headed out of the tent just before exiting though, Jiraiya called out to Naruto. Naruto stopped to look at his godfather. The toad looked at the kid he viewed as his own grandson. "I don't think either Itachi or myself can take another loss," he told Naruto. "I promised my brother to come with him. I don't plan on breaking that promise, grandfather." And he left the tent, but still heard the saying his parents would be proud of him. He headed towards Kakashi's tent. "Kakashi, let's go. We got a mission." The white-haired man came out of his tent. "Where to?" he asked, as he got his utility belt buckled up. "Going to save the Uchiha." Scene faded. On a plane, Fugaku directed his soldiers. Only about 100 to the 2.00 Cloud Shinobi. He would defend his position with his life. After all, he had kids to come home to. Two people landed in the middle of his position. Activating his Sharingan, he turned to face the newcomers. A 19-year-old Kakashi and a 16-year-old Naruto. The man had mad respect for the kid. To take his Sharingan to the level he was at. The kid might not bear the name, but he was an Uchiha through and through. Naruto walked up to him. "What's the situation?" he asked straight to the point. Fugaku grimaces were outnumbered 20 to 1. The other attacks were ployed to draw our attention away. "We've been holding so far, but a fighting retreat might not look bad right now." Naruto kneeled and channeled chakra to the storage seals in his wrist. A bow fairly plain made out of chakra conductive metal, and arrows made of the same material, popped out of said seals. "Time to unveil my new technique," he said. Kakashi looked at him with a blank face. "Really, Naruto?" he remarked. Naruto took offense. It had been a gift from his girlfriend. Thinking of her, he paused for a second. Hiding who he was hurting him. But he wouldn't risk his friend. Getting back on track, he looked at Kakashi and said, "This bow is just a conjured." He turned to Fugaku. "Got any kunai launchers left?" he asked. His fellow got all three still. Naruto unsealed a sealing scroll. "Load these kunai into them and launch them at the feet of the enemy. It will make the technique much more effective." Fugaku nodded. A minute later, the kunai were launched, and he began to channel lightning chakra into his hands, sending the ball of lightning into the air. Clouds began to form. He drew his bow and aimed at the center of the trap that the Cloud Ninja were still moving towards too. He channeled lightning chakra into his arrow and wind chakra into the bow. He steadied his breath, and when the enemy moved into position, he loosened his arrow. Lightning technique. Indra's arrow. The arrow flew through, and when it hit a random unsuspecting Chunin, the technique triggered, and a lightning storm fell where the enemy was. And because it wasn't chakra that produced lightning, but true ionized clouds having an electrical discharge, no shinobi had a chance. A large portion of the formation was dead. Some are still dying. And those still alive were mortally wounded or unable to fight. He dropped down from his position and moved towards the center of the field. Another wave of shinobi appeared from the tree line. This time, with the recently named Drakage leading them. Minato's brat. No wonder. You bastards make armies flee. Naruto activates his Mangekyou. "You killed my brother." I looked at him. He was a shinobi. "Not me," Naruto snarled. "A shinobi under your command." I responded, "This is war. What else do you expect?" Naruto laughed darkly. "I was born into war. It is you who has no idea how bad war can get." He gathered chakra into his left eye. Prepared, he felt the buildup of chakra. "Kami," Naruto whispered, and his form became ethereal. He put away his bow and took out his gunbai and kama. He looked like a mini A-note. And Naruto ran at the contingent of Cloud Shinobi. Again, no matter how outnumbered he was, Mangekyou allowed him to defeat the army in front of him. He turned towards A, who just watched as his 500 men and women were slaughtered. "My father once told me he spared you and your brother. I don't know what he saw in you, but I will allow you to leave today. But should we cross paths again, I will end your life." The scene changed again. This time Naruto was in front of a girl. She looked about the same age as him. She was pissed at your Konoha shinobi. She screamed at him, throwing a little book at him. Naruto recognized it as a bingo book. He opened a marked page and saw his name and picture with a moniker. Naruto Namikaze. Kami no Shinobi. Son of Minato Namikaze. Mother. Unknown, suspected to be an Uchiha. Wanted. Hidden Cloud 2.300.000, alive. 2.00.000, dead. Ranking S class. Abilities. Powerful lightning affinity. Has been observed to have proficiency in many forms of combat: ninjutsu, taijutsu, jinjutsu, fuinjutsu, kinjutsu. Kekkei Genkai. Sharingan. Has been noted to often throw jutsu from all elemental. Nature. Proficiency in each unknown. Has large amounts of chakra. Engagement. Flee on sight. Naruto had to be honest with himself. He might not know the flying, and made a small headway on the, but to earn a flee on sight on his own. And at a young age to boot. Putting the book down, he saw Kurotsuchi in front of him. Crying. He understood. He had his own suspicion for a while. But she was a shinobi of the Hidden Rock. He took a deep breath. Kurotsuchi demanded. Naruto stepped forward a bit. "You can't act as if you at least didn't suspect Kuro-chan. We are shinobi. Good ones at that." He told her. "I know. But the son of the fourth. You're the spawn of the murderer." Naruto was taken aback. His father is a murderer. Pot calling the kettle black. How many Iwa berserkers have been killed indiscriminately? How many haven't your Tsuchikage killed, leaving not even a hair to bury? He shot back. Kurotsuchi was incensed. "Don't talk about grandpa like that." That did it for Naruto. His Sharingan spun to life, and faster than the eye could see he had Kurotsuchi pressed against a wall, kunai against her throat. "You're the granddaughter of that murderer," he stated. Kurotsuchi knew the true fear of those moments. Now she knew why the Sharingan was feared everywhere. Those red soulless eyes that peered into her very being. She swallowed up her fear. Yes. Naruto pressed the kunai further. "Did you know that he signed an order that saw an assassination attempt on the life of a pregnant woman? She was poisoned. To save the baby's life, the doctors were forced to extract the baby from her womb. She had a 3-year-old son who she spent the last moments of her life with. Her last gifts to me were my brother and my Sharingan. The assailant was killed by my father, so I swore I would get Inoki myself." Kurotsuchi thought she was going to die. And she would have. But Naruto couldn't do it. He, Naruto Namikaze, feared Konoha Jonin, who had destroyed an army. Couldn't kill his best friend. Even though she was the granddaughter of the person he hated the most. Slowly the kunai slipped from his hands. Say what you want, but he was still 16 years old. And a 16-year-old shouldn't find it to kill his own best friend. Crying, drowning in his self-hatred. He recalled his mother's last words to him: "Don't drown yourself in the hatred that plagues the Uchiha, my son. Or you will lose sight of everything he cared for." Even though Kurotsuchi herself had lost her mother to the 4th Hokage, she couldn't hate her friend. Impossible now. No one understood her better. Slowly she hugged him. She understood now. She was feeling love. Should have been impossible. After all, they were supposed to be killing each other. But how could they? Both blood of their respective cage. Both lost family because of the cage that opposed them. Both fighting for the survival of their village. Both of them are sick of the conflict. Naruto hugged Kurotsuchi back like a lifeline. "I hate this war," he told her. Kurotsuchi smiled. She leaned in and whispered into his ear, "I know a way to bring peace." Naruto pulled back and looked into her black eyes. "How?" he asked her. She smiled and leaned to kiss his lips. "We become the strongest. Become the cage of our village. Marry, establish peace. Have children," she told him. Naruto closed his eyes and leaned in. Felt good thinking about that. If it were that easy, he suddenly thought to himself. He looked at the girl before him. She was a prodigy in her village. But she entered the conflict late. She had barely gotten to. He didn't doubt her strength. One day her strength would grow to match his. He thought that the Kyuubi sealed in him would match his innate potential minus Kyuubi. "Is this what you want, Kurotsuchi?" he asked her, looking straight in the eye. "That is my dream, Naruto-kun. I will fight to make it a reality." Naruto smiled and kissed her. "Then I promise you that I will ensure that I will help you achieve your dreams." Memory end. Inoichi ended the. He took his notepad and began to write. Patient's name: Naruto Namikaze, Uchiha. Memory status: real. Very real memory. Side note: run memory a few more times. Extra note: patient seems to have unknown origins. Parental identity should be impossible. The only person Minato Namikaze married or had children with was Kushina Uzumaki. Summoning is a time-space technique. It's possible that Hitomi Uzumaki pulled a patient from another dimension. Perhaps like how the toads live on a different plane of existence. Blood tests should either confirm or deny the results. Inoichi cited. You're proving to be interesting him. Inoichi ran through the hand seals and restarted the technique. This time another memory, this one more recent, made its way to the forefront. Memory. Jiraiya had been pursuing him. For 3 days. He was sitting on the shoulders of Madara Uchiha. "Tell me, grandfather, is this how you felt?" he said to the stone statue of his ancestor. Jiraiya landed on the head of the first Hokage. "Naruto, come back to the village." "Why are you doing this?" Naruto stood up from his position. "You followed me for no reason. Return to the village. I won't fight you today." The 5th Hokage took offense. "Are you crazy, Naruto? You betrayed Konoha. You are betraying everything your family fought and bled for." "My family. Don't spit on their graves." The temperature dropped a couple of degrees. "Don't talk about them. Everything I'm doing is for them. So another war does interrupt that swallows up everything. So other kids don't have to be born and raised on the battlefields." Jiraiya looked at him. "Don't be stupid, you're more likely to start a war." Naruto looked at his master and godfather. "Did you know, grandfather? When I was 10 I met an Iwa Kunoichi during my deployment to Kusa. That ever since then we became friends and eventually lovers." Jiraiya looked at him as he talked. "You know, when I found out she was the granddaughter of the Tsuchikage, I couldn't kill her," he said softly. Jiraiya looked at him. "Naruto, the war is over. You could have just been open about your relationship." Naruto chuckled in a way that made Jiraiya shiver. "You know, that day she made me promise something. We both would have become the cages of our village. I would have become the Hokage. And she would have become the Tsuchikage. We would have gotten married," he whispered. But Jiraiya heard him. Back then she was young and idealistic. She hadn't seen much warfare yet. He laughed darkly. "I made an empty promise that day. Only when someone is in control can there be peace." Jiraiya's eyes widened. His grandson wanted to conquer the elemental nations. Naruto, that's madness. he shouted. Naruto just looked at him apathetically. You must be a bigger fool than I thought. You must be blind to not see it. The shinobi of Konoha. They resented Tsuchikage and his demands. They will pass that hatred on to their children. And sooner or later, on their own volition, will spark the fourth great ninja war. And win or lose, the cycle will start over, he said bitterly. Activating his newly acquired eternal Mangekyou Sharingan, he looked at Jiraiya. I will be the villain needs me to be. And swirled away. The memory faded, and another one took his place. This time even Inoichi couldn't ignore the resemblance between Madara Uchiha and the person that Naruto Namikaze was turning out to be. In the middle of a village. The memory showed him Naruto summoning the Kyuubi. Standing on top of the beast Gunbai and Kama in hand. On the opposite side stood an older Kurotsuchi. Standing on top of a lava golem. And on her sides the 4- and 5-tailed beast. He watched the confrontation. Added the power shinobi of the caliber demonstrated to have. He saw Naruto push his 3 opponents for almost 3 days. Until he realized Naruto was in some way sick. He watched as Naruto interacted with the granddaughter of the Tsuchikage. He saw him seal the Kyuubi into a baby. Before he handed his kunai to his ex-lover. And took the killing blow. Inoichi didn't envy him then. Inoichi spent 2 more hours viewing memories until he came upon the memory that changed his perception of the patient. Memory. Naruto burst through the medical tent. The Hokage's summon had told him of his brother being mortally wounded. Naruto didn't hesitate. He rushed to his brother's side. He couldn't lose his brother. Itachi of the 2 things he still had left. He arrived, and immediately knew his brother wouldn't make it through the night. Itachi. He screamed, as he rushed to his brother's side taking his brother's hand in his own. Itachi was missing 2 legs both blown. Severe burns could be seen through his body. Bruises and cuts covered what wasn't taken or burnt. Itachi opened his eyes. I'm sorry Naruto Nai. I couldn't let them die. Naruto teared up, as he reassured his brother it's okay. It's okay, you did well. Rest Itachi, you deserve it. Itachi coughed. Naru-nai. Take my eyes. They will return your faded light. Itachi coughed some more. Naruto was going blind from using his Mangekyou. But he wouldn't take his brother's. Naru-nai coughs make them cough. I'm a dead man coughing, and I remember coughing. What I told you cough be, as potent a cough, as the venom of a cough cobra. Naruto sobbed. As he held on to his dying brother. Itachi, I'm proud of what you have become. You become stronger than I ever was. Naruto told Itachi. Itachi smiled, don't pity me cough cough Naruto. Pity the living cough, I'll be looking with pride at cough, as the next cough of kin is making cough cough history. Naruto nodded. Itachi continues to struggle. Call. Dr. Naruto. Naruto responded immediately to the doctor. Doctor. The field med responded kneeling down on the other side of the makeshift bed. What's wrong? The doctor asked. And Itachi requested the transfer of eyes. Naruto was shocked. He knew his brother wanted him to take his eyes. But what could have him in such a hurry? The doctor left to get the preparations done. Itachi looked at his brother. He relaxed a little. Trying to control his coughing fits. Naruto, when the transplant is done, I want you to talk to Fugaku about the stone tablet hidden under the Nakara's shrine. Naruto nodded. The stone tablet must have meant something. Scene change. Naruto stood his new Mangekyou active. Reading the stone tablet his brother had told him about. He read about the Sharingan and its later stages, the Mangekyou and the eternal Mangekyou. The story of Shinju, a way to bring peace by casting a Jinjutsu onto the moon. He explained these things to who was next to him. Fugaku looked at him and said this will never work. It's doomed to fail. Naruto looked at him. Tell me, if it brings peace, would you do it? Fugaku looked at him. You may not bear the name, but you're an Uchiha. Sometimes more so than any other. The two fell silent for a moment. We Uchiha value loyalty against all else. You proved yours when you stepped up to Danzo in our defense. I don't like it, but I will follow you. Naruto looked at the older man and said, I will become the villain. I can already see the gathering of the clouds. Peace will not last. I will take the hatred into myself. Fugaku, we both know I'm dying. The mixture of medicine and the chakra inside me slows it down. I have a few years at best. If I die, can you carry on this for me? Fugaku nodded. I'll protect the Kunoichi too. Naruto bro hugged the man. You're one of the few that understand what we have to do. The memory faded away. Inoichi wrote down his findings. When Hashi stepped through. Have you found anything? The doctor asked. Inoichi nodded. Patient's name from what I found is Naruto Namikaze, born to Minato Namikaze and Mikoto Uchiha. Has a powerful stage of the Sharingan known as the Eternal Mangekyou, and possibly an even more advanced stage, but while I saw it in action, I didn't see anything that points towards the name of the Dojutsu. Has been sick with some sort of terminal disease. Grew up fighting in an extended third ninja war. Born into it from what I can gather. Had a relationship with the granddaughter of the third Tsuchikage despite being a Konoha shinobi. Became a missing nin, and used the Kyuubi to attack the hidden rock. Inoichi summarized. Hashi said jokingly. What is he, some sort of mini Nadar? Inoichi nodded, and added some other things. I gathered was that he was an orphan who lost his mother when he was 3 years old, and lost his father and stepmother 5 years later. Lost a brother 2 years after to an assassination attempt, and lost the other at 17. Before finally deserting the village. Hashi whistled. I don't doubt that he must have some serious issues. Inoichi looked at him. His mental health is only slightly worse than Kakashi. Constant warfare desensitized him to death. He developed a bit of an obsession with finding peace. But his own mortality kept him grounded to reality. How is the medical analysis? Inoichi asked. Hashi took his notepad and began the DNA testing to confirm the identity of his parents. He does have traces of toxins in his bloodstream, but I was able to take care of that. I found large quantities of medical cocktails which our guests served to buy him time. I hope you have an answer to that. His chakra levels were low and showed signs of being in prolonged combat. Going back to the DNA analysis Minato was part of, so maybe the mixing of Senju and Uchiha blood did something to his. Who knows, maybe Hokage Sama knows something. Right now we are keeping him sedated. Inoichi stood up, and the two went to report to the Hokage. Thanks for watching my video. Leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.